Hey everyone, my name's Spencer. So a few years ago, me and a couple friends set out to make a large-scale data pack that would add fantasy races and classes to Minecraft. So this entails, a ton of new abilities, custom abilities, new items, and crafting recipes. And basically, I'm here to show you guys all the new stuff we made and how the abilities work. I'm not really going to get too much into the crafting recipes because that, gets pretty complex and boring. But if you're interested, I will leave our Google spreadsheet in the description if you're interested in checking it out. Um, if you're interested in me explaining any of that stuff, let me know. But yeah, we're just going to get into the races and classes. So basically, you might have already noticed we have a new thing on our toolbar. Those actually are custom icons we added that show your mana or mana. So your mana is basically used in every single ability, spell, or item in the game. This is like our cost system. So mana will generally default about half a mana crystal per second. So it regenerates constantly. There are a few things that could stop your mana regenerating, but usually you'll have consistently regenerating mana. And there's even some races or classes and also abilities that could increase the speed in which your mana regenerates. So that is the new bar, and actually it will move up if we have air bubbles. I'm actually currently a demon, so I'm burning, but I will talk about the races in a minute. I'm burning in the water. So yeah, let's get started. So the game isn't really changed at all, but there are tons of new items and different abilities that we have. So this book is kind of an admin book with all of the items we can get. So the game actually adds 9 races and 9 classes. So let's go ahead and start off with the demon race, the first one here. So with the demon race, we actually get by default permanent fire resistance. And also, if we go into water, it'll damage us. So the real benefits of the demon race, you actually gain them in the nether. So one of the by default traits we get is nether creatures, like ghast and piglins, won't attack you unless you attack them first. And also we get tons of buffs like speed, resistance, jump boost, strength. But you only get these in the nether. Yep. So super useful abilities. So I'm going to go back here. Okay, let's look at the second race we have here, Dwarf. So dwarves actually get slowness too. And let me see here. So one of the more interesting traits, obviously we get more health too. I forgot to mention that. But if a dwarf has a pickaxe and they're near blocks, if we crouch, we can see it's using up our mana bar, and we can see the ores through walls. You can do it over here too. We can see there's iron and coal up there. There's a certain range to it, and it drains mana for as long as we're crouching with the pickaxe. Furthermore, if we go into caves, we can actually gain night vision under certain depths. Yeah, as we can see, look, we can also see all the ores through walls. Pretty useful for finding all the ores. And that actually works through a system that scans all the blocks around you, kind of like in a chain snake, and then it will spawn entities, and it'll give those entities glowing based on their team. So there's a lot of stuff going into it to make it work. So the next race we're going to look at is the elf race. And as we can see here, we actually have an increased amount of mana. So let me head up here. And the second trait of the elves is obviously a jump boost, so we can jump like 2 blocks. Another useful ability, up to a certain height, you have to reach a certain height, will have damage negation from falling. So if we fall from that height, maybe not tall enough, we should have damage negation. I just messed it up. So next we're going to look at the Gnome race. The Gnome race basically gets just speed boost too, which is pretty basic. But they also get a increased mana regen. So see, when we eat this, it takes our mana, but it doubles. It's double fast regen. So yeah, these are the basic abilities. That's very useful, and I'll show that off more later when we actually are using more spells and abilities. Human, I will go into more later because it's pretty complex. So we'll just go to Orc for now. This is very basic, resistance and strength. And increased health, we get 2 more hearts. If these trigger messages go away. Sahagun, if you've never heard that term, it's basically fish people. So we can see now a new icon has been added to our stat bar, and that's basically our water level. So the longer we spend out in the sun without rain or touching water, that will slowly drain, and if it reaches 0, we'll start taking damage until we die. So see, there's a constant timer going in the background tracking how far, or what's our dehydration level. So when we go into the water, we're actually at our most powerful. You can swim super quickly. We gain haste 4, strength 2, and you get vision underwater. And I believe if we go to the nether, it's basically inhospitable. Because our water level there will drain very quickly. I probably will not stick around to show it, but just know it is happening. So the next race we're going to look at is actually Vampire. So you might notice I'm in a cave now. This is because obviously I burn in the sunlight. I'm a vampire. There's a fire effect. Vampires also cannot eat normal food like bread or anything else. Oop, I'm going to die. But they do have a lifesteal effect where they gain nothing. Or, sorry, where they gain health. So you don't want to eat the flesh. But they gain health from doing damage. So as we can see, when it turns night, I will no longer be burned. It's actually detecting day and night stuff as well as the ceiling above me through a ray. And actually, if I hold crouch with nothing in my hand and jump, I can turn to a bat. You can see me, obviously I'm a little invisible because you can see yourself when invisible, but other players would just see you as a bat with a smoke effect. And you can undo it any time, negate fall damage. You can only do this at night, or when you're in a cave. So we can see my bat in first person there. Yeah, so by default, at nighttime, you'll gain strength 2 as a vampire. Also, undead creatures like skeletons and zombies are your allies unless you directly attack them. See, but if I hit them, oh, I guess they're more agreeable than I thought. I think maybe if I get a pickaxe out. Yeah, see, there we go. Alright. So, risky race. High benefits. Yeti, actually, most of the benefits I will just describe. So, by default, we have resistance 2. My night vision from being a vampire is wearing off. But by default, we have resistance 2. And most of the Yeti's benefits actually come within the snow biome. So, when the Yeti is in the snow biome, they will be invisible to players and other people within a certain distance, and that distance is actually shortened when they're in the snowstorm. This is kind of to emulate, the Sasquatch, where a Z effect. So they gain a ton of benefits just basically in snow biomes. I'm not going to go off and find one right now, but that's how it is. So let me give myself a couple villager spawn eggs, because that is basically how the human class works. I'm also going to have to describe some of it because it gets sort of complex. But basically, the human class gains benefits from living in villages. So I base this kind of off of, I feel like most of the benefits to humans in fantasy are their numbers. So the more so by default, the humans gain no effects. But they will gain new trade bonuses and powerful effects that will last forever, as long as they don't die, based on how many trades they've made, and those are unlocked in tiers. So if they make 3 trades, they'll gain 1 tier. That will give them certain buffs. I won't list them all because there's a lot, but they'll also gain benefits for how many villagers they are near. So if we're near 1 villager, we gain resistance 1. If we're near 5 villagers, we gain strength 1. And this can actually, these effects go all the way up to 256 villagers. I don't know how you'd fit all those, and you have to be within a certain range. But yeah, so the human gains buffs basically based on how close they are to their compatriot and other humans. So I think that about covers it for the races. I'll cover one last thing. The demons can actually very easily craft fire breath. And I won't describe all the crafting recipes because we'd be here all day, but I will leave a document in the description if you're interested. But as a demon, you can basically breathe fire out in a line. It's a pretty cool effect. It takes mana to use. Alright, so now we're going to start talking about the classes, which is where most of the items are. I'm going to move pretty quickly because there's like a ton of stuff to get through. Okay, so we'll start with Alchemist, probably the most complex class. So as an Alchemist, everything... Let me make a day here, so... So as an Alchemist, you'll be able to craft the Philosopher's Stone. I won't describe the very complicated process. It involves basically bringing alchemic materials to different areas at different specific times. So like, I think one of them is bringing like mercury to the top of a mountain at snowy mountain at noon. I'll leave it. It's in the crafting recipe description that I'll leave if you're interested. It's a complex recipe, but basically you'll be able to craft the Philosopher's Stone, and it's very hard to get rid of this thing. So don't worry about losing it. But so what you do when you throw it down, it'll become a summoning circle. Now this circle actually used to be a more complex design, but I had to reduce it for like lag issues on servers. So it's a star if you can kind of see it, but it used to be a more complex sort of summoning alchemical circle style. So this, obviously this thing cannot be picked up. It can't be destroyed by like explosions or anything. When we drop it, we actually get the Tome of Return. And tomes is how basically most things in alchemy work. So when I right click, it'll call the stone back to me and I can throw it down. It's actually a different random color every time as well. And this stone is linked to you by your UUID, like your user ID. So there's a lot of things we can do specifically just for the player that threw it down. So there could be multiple alchemists and it wouldn't interfere with multiplayer. So I will hopefully get to go through all of these when we get them all in my inventory here. The Tome Return away. So we'll just start with the Ender Rod, which is... Oh, I forgot. If you move the Tome of Return out of your main inventory, it will delete the stone to protect it. There's a lot of fail-safes in place to make sure the stone does not get lost or anything like that. So we'll start with actually the Lightning Tome, because I got it in my hand right now. The Lightning Tome basically does what it says. Lightning strikes. And don't worry, it's on fire, but it is perfectly safe. As we can see, it actually took some mana there to use, and all of these tomes will take mana. I know alchemy is usually the art of trade, but in this case, it's just using mana. There is stuff that we can do with alchemy that will be equivalent exchanges, like swapping between ores with some sacrifices, or summoning zombies and stuff, but I probably won't go over all that. If you're interested in those types of crafting recipes, it's also in the Excel spreadsheet. So Ignition Alchemy, you can guess what it does. I'm actually just going to return the stone because I don't want to put all that out. Here's the Ender Rod. Basically, it'll teleport you to wherever the stone is, no matter where you are. And that was a pretty complicated process to do, but it does function pretty effectively. The Speedy Tome, you might say, what is this even doing? It actually creates a temporary thing where if you walk over it when the particle effects are showing, it'll give you a speed boost for the next 30 seconds. Similarly, the Leaping Tome will do something similar where it'll get a jump boost effect, and you can sail down. So you can kind of use it as a jump pad when you... Oops, I missed it, but... we can jump up and we can launch. So that's those two. See, I'm kind of low in health. Healing Tome will give you regeneration. I'll do Wall Tome last. Glow Tome makes everyone within a certain range see, like, you can see them through walls. I will spawn like a zombie or something so you can see this. So they will glow. Other players will glow, but the person who used it will not glow. Some benefit there. Here, this will actually maybe be a good opportunity. The alchemical tinder summons an explosion. You can see the cool particle effects there. Coordinate tome, pretty basic. Just tells you the philosopher's stone is at, and then it gives you the coordinates. We did healing alchemy. Wall tome will actually summon, it'll give you the stone back, but it will summon a wall in the direction you're facing. And this used to be like omnidirectional, so you could do it sideways and stuff, but it didn't really fit because, you know, Minecraft is blocks. So I kept it at only like 90-degree angles. So we can do it, it's based on the direction we're facing. I guess we could build a house here. So yeah. And the final tome, let me get some seeds, and I will show you what it can do. So if we throw the philosopher's stone down, you say you have some crops that are growing, they're taking forever, we can use botanist alchemy. And it actually has a random % chance, I'm using it consecutively here, to grow the crops. Yep, and that's all the basic tome alchemies. Now there are tons of other stuff you can do with the philosopher's stone. I cannot name them all because there's so many. And I mostly focus on the tomes. My friend Henry actually worked on most of the other summoning stuff. But basically you can, like if you had diamonds, you could transfer them. You could like transform them into emeralds or amethyst. You could create food from other food. There's just a ton of stuff. You can recreate humans, villagers. But yeah, that is Alchemist. We will be moving on to Bard, which is a little simpler. Basically, Bard, as you can see when I'm standing still, there's a circle around me. And it should give me an effect. Maybe that one doesn't give me an effect. But see, like, so each disc will give you a different effect. 13 gives me jump boost. Let's see what Cat does. Cat gives me night vision. And it will actually give everyone within the range that effect as well. And the only way to stop this is to wear earplugs. If you're wearing earplugs, you will not get the effect because there's also 11, which is a bad effect. So see, hold on, if I put on my earplugs, the effect will stop. This will work for everyone. Let's check out this last one here. Chirp gives us slow falling. That is basically Bard. Pretty simple but powerful, and you can actually hold 2 different discs at once if you put it in your offhand. So next we'll be moving to Beastmaster. This one's, you know, pretty straightforward. We have several different tomes and a potion that have to do with beasts. So we'll start off with the simple ones, and here I'll get some creatures that they can attack for us. So we spawn a zombie. Tome of Fangs will actually spawn 3 wolves that are instantly tamed by me and will attack for me, as you can see. And they should die and disappear after a certain amount of time because obviously they're summoned with mana, so they can't be forever. There they go. And then the next ability, Tome of Webs, will actually summon an army of spiders, and these are all friendly to me, and they have speed boost. And they will also die soon. Not much to say about them. The Tome of, hold on, this one actually takes your full mana bar. If I summon Tome of Hooves, I get a saddle and a horse, and so I'll get this horse for forever long I want, until I get off of it, and then it will disappear along with the saddle. So that, yeah, obviously that takes a ton of mana to use. And then Rat Bomb, I will show this one reluctantly. It basically creates, it spawns 15 silverfish that are supposed to act like rats. So I guess you can, I don't know, throw these at people you want to harm. This next one should require probably some skeletons to use. So, you know, say, you know, skeletons shooting at you and stuff, you could use the Tome of Stinger to create a shield of bees. that when attacked, the bees will attack for you. And then when they're done being aggressive, they will return to this formation. And if I crouch with the tome, the bees will disappear. Pretty straightforward. And the tome, and the potion of rats will actually disappear because it's a usable item, unlike the tomes. And so you can craft it, obviously. Yeah, so next we'll move on to Cleric. So Cleric gets several abilities here that I will explain, that usually revolve around one of my rats is rebelling. This is not good. See, one of the things we can do. So here, I'll actually show this off. Divine Shield Charm. I guess since I'm no longer the Beastmaster, they're attacking me. That's how it works. So actually, as a Beastmaster, all like wild animals basically won't attack you, like creepers, spiders, silverfish. So with the Divine Shield Charm, I use it, creates a status effect, and now I have a halo above my head, and this will basically give me a free hit if something hits me. So I didn't take damage, but the Divine Shield Charm was used up. Let me quickly make a day. So the next ability is Mass Dispel. This is basically... Oh wow, the silverfish might be too short for it to actually affect them. This is this is not good. But usually, see if I spawn a few zombies and we use Dispel, it will push them away, usually just a complete opposite direction. And it will also, if you hit a player with this, stop their mana from regenning. And I should probably deal with these rats somehow. The Scroll of Humility will actually give all these creatures weakness, so they actually can't do damage to me for a certain amount of time. Angel Feather has a pretty big description. So basically how it works... I need to read it. So if we press jump, we can actually, and look up, we can go up. And if we look down and hold crouch, we'll go down. And it drains our mana for as long as we're in the air. That's how the Angel Feather works. And we don't take fall damage. And the last ability... Actually, go 2 more. So Holy Water actually is basically just a grenade for undead enemies. So if we throw that, it should be like an AoE attack. It'll give me regeneration when I'm in it, and it'll harm the zombie. And the last ability we have is Cleanse, which will actually cleanse me and people surrounding me of negative status effects. Alright, I think it's time to get rid of these things. So Cleric is all about holy stuff. So like obviously I actually had this out. I'll show you. If I have... So say I drink grog, I have a ton of negative effects. I can use Cleanse, and it will get rid of all my negative status effects. So this is actually a feature of the Cleric. I kind of wanted to imitate like a monkhood or bodhisattva. So basically, if a Cleric reaches 0 hunger and they don't move, like for a very long time, they will eventually reach the beginning of their nirvana process. So we can see here, when you start the nirvana process, you'll get a message in the chat, and this can take a very long time. It says there's no wisdom in those who lack absorptive concentration. There's no absorptive concentration in one who lacks wisdom. So kind of cryptic Buddhist stuff I put in. And it's warning you do not move when offered. The Enderman is not part of it. And we can see that you're taking hunger damage, but you're getting regen back to counteract this. And there's a Nirvana timer, which would not normally be on the screen, but I just didn't want to cover it. So then the demons will start to give you offerings. So that one gave you eternal life. This one is trying to scare you. And the final test will come in a moment. Obviously, these are all inspired by the story of Siddhartha Gautama. And the final demon's defeated. And basically, after this point, if you were to move at this point, you would be banned from ever attaining like the Nirvana state, which you'll see at the end. But if you move after this, after passing the trials, you will not be punished. So I'll skip ahead here. So after you wait long enough, you will reach state of Nirvana, and you will go into spectator mode, and you'll be able to like fly around the map, and you'll lose your inventory, and you can exist outside of it. But you'll also be given the option every few minutes to return as Bodhisattva, which you return to Earth, but you gain a bunch of benefits like strength and regeneration, and other stats. It's a super cool feature. I had a lot of fun making it. Alright, moving on to Pirate. Kind of a far out one here. So the Pirate can craft 2 drinks. You saw the effects of them. They're more just for entertainment. And also we have... I'll get them here. So this explosive kit actually allows us to launch TNT like a cannon. This is meant to obviously emulate pirate ships. So say this enemy is chasing us. If we hold crouch, okay, well that's gonna be it's too close there, but we can launch the TNT. I completely missed. And then also, or we could launch smoke TNT, and it will create a smoke cloud that gives you blindness when you're in it. And then the final TNT is Ice TNT, which will freeze enemies in a surrounding. Or you could even shoot it into the water. We can see the effect. If you go in that ice effect, it probably lasts for a few seconds there. You will be just completely stuck. So those are the 3 TNT launching effects. And now the Salty Sea Dog's Spade, which is actually made by Noah. If we hold crouch, we can actually see an aiming effect. And if we right click, it's like we dug there. So it's kind of like you're digging underground. Kind of a very cool effect. Gives Pirate some mobility. And so yeah, that's basically all it is for Pirate. Pretty basic. There's some other things you can craft, but obviously I'm not going to go over all the crafting recipes in this video. Ranger is a pretty unique class. With the Ranger class, we actually get a different status effect based on every biome we're in. And I think this is actually kind of broken right now, so I'll probably go and fix it at some point. But like say like in mountain biomes, you get jump boost. In caves, you'll get night vision. There's just like a bunch of different, like it's based on what type of biome you'll get different improvements. Another ability of the Ranger is if we walk up to walls and hold crouch, we actually can climb them. And then obviously their main thing is going to be crafting different types of arrows. So I'll take a look at each of these arrows. Lightning arrow, I think you can guess what it does. Summons lightning where it hits. Arrow launching arrow is kind of unique. We shoot the ground wherever it lands. It actually spawns several other arrows in a radius. Explosive arrow, you think you can also assume what it does here. Blows up. I'll save bouncing arrow for last. Anti-gravity arrow, whoever you shoot will lose gravity. I'm not really sure I have any. Oh, I actually was incorrect. The anti-gravity arrow actually has no fall down. So if you shoot it, it will just go straight forever. Sorry, I completely misunderstood that. The sticky arrow will actually see the zombies coming for me. If I shoot him at the sticky arrow, he'll be stuck in place. And we can see kind of the sticky effect. And then the final arrow we have is bouncing arrow, which is probably easier to show. By showing you here, if we shoot this wall with the sticky arrow, oh, it may have not worked immediately. Okay, sorry, I had to skip. I was having some problems trying to get the bouncing arrow to work, but basically you can see it bounces. That's it's pretty direct. And then the anti-gravity arrow, it just doesn't it doesn't curve. It just goes straight forever, as you can see. Like you still see it off in the distance there. And the last thing here, grow bone. So say we also, we had these crops unfinished. If we crouch, we can actually use up mana to grow crops in our vicinity. And it works with the same as the other one, where it's like it's a random chance. So that's the ranger. Now rogue, let me switch to a rogue here. So rogue will actually gain consecutive jump boost. So the more I jump in a row, the higher I'll be able to jump. And this is, I think, the max. And it will also drain our mana. So, if we stop, it'll reset. It'll keep going. It'll reset after a few seconds after you stop. So I think it's stopped. See if we can go again. And we won't take fall damage. So see if I stopped and I jumped again, it would keep going. But if I waited a few seconds and tried to do it, not long enough. There we go. So it's reset. And then the other ability of the rogue is if we crouch. Let me get rid of my hat. If we crouch, you'll turn invisible unless you move and there's smoke at your feet. This will also drain your mana, obviously. So with the rogue, they basically have the smoke potion. It just causes blindness in a radius. Pretty basic. But so the rogue has those abilities, makes them very strong. So we'll go to wizard. I guess we'll go to warrior first. So the warrior doesn't have many abilities. They gain strength and also this shield bash. So this is kind of, I got this idea kind of a little bit from Overwatch, like Brigitte. So, we're holding up, we can slam into enemies. And it has a cooldown that it says in the chat. You can see the blood effect. We were working on some more stuff for warrior, potentially like some one-time use, like magic weapons and stuff, but this is all it really is for now. Wizard is probably it's the class we started with. Most iconic class. I'll just get all the items here. So we'll start with kind of the silly one, firework staff. If we right click, it launches a firework up, and each firework is randomized. So it uses mana to do this. This thing will never break. The next one, the lightning TP. This is kind of something that we didn't really intend to have in the game, but basically wherever you look, no matter where, you can right click and you'll teleport there at the cost of all your mana. So probably will not actually include that one, but it is fun. So our next one I wanted to show off is actually the freeze staff. And you might be wondering, why do I have magma cubes? I'll get a few different ones here. So we have different sizes. We can actually use the freeze staff on them, and it will turn them into normal slimes. But it doesn't stop there. Let me get some mana back. We can turn the normal slimes into ice cubes. And then you can take it a step further, and we can turn these ice cubes into packed ice. And we can go even further and turning this packed ice into blue ice. And I think that's where it stops. And obviously, another use, you can turn water into ice. Pretty simple. And this, I don't know if you noticed, but the size, like if it's a small magma cube, it'll turn into a small slime. And the small slimes will drop 1 ice, the medium slimes 2, big ones 4. And then obviously, the ignition staff is next. So it can't melt blue ice, but it can melt normal ice and get rid of water. Obviously it'll light things on fire, like if I shoot the ground or a mob, it'll light them on fire. Water staff is pretty basic. It just summons a thing of water. It'll also, if you hit a player or a creature with it, it'll give them fire resistance for a short amount of time. So that's all the staffs, which I worked on. The tomes are mostly worked on by my friend Noah, which is kind of what we started this whole thing with. Shadow Bolt is pretty direct. Shoots just a shadow bolt of damage. Not much to say there. Book of Lightning is very cool because it also uses the same sort of ray tracing effect where it can see where you're looking. and then I can cause lightning to strike based on where I'm looking at it. I do enjoy being able to see where it's going to hit. So yeah, fireball, as you'd expect. Let me get some mana back, hold on. It'll actually follow your cursor, kind of like the Half-Life 2 RPG. So you could redirect the fireball. That's super cool. And then Airwalk for Dummies. It's similar to the Feather, but that page sound means so it uses 5 mana, and basically for a select amount of time, we can walk on air and we can jump up. Oh, ran out. So yeah, that's basically all the stuff for Wizard. Lots of magic stuff. Put these away. So I think that about covers all the classes. So there's a few extra items. Potion of Sun Protection was meant for vampires. It gives you immunity to sun damage for 45 seconds. Potion of Water Protection is for demons. It'll protect you from taking damage from water for 45 seconds. And these are all craftable. And then there's also Splash Potions of Mana Regen, which lasts for a minute, like it says here. It doubles your mana regen. And obviously, like, multiple people can step in it since it's Splash. And this one halts mana regen, so you could throw this on someone and it would stop their mana regen. The Coral Pick, just a cool design for mining coral. So it's just super easy to make. I think only Sahaguns can make it. And it's mostly intended for them to be able to get coral very easily early in the game. So these are all custom textures, all of these in a custom data pack, as well as our scoreboard there. Yep, every single one of these were custom made pixel art. So yeah, that's about everything. Obviously, there are tons of crafting recipes and different things you can do that I haven't covered because I'd have to uncover all the crafting recipes and stuff, but there is a Google spreadsheet that we worked on that should give you all the information you need. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching.